Welcome back. Now, as Leanne had said earlier, we're still talking children, and she was talking about that groundbreaking transplant that was done by Dr. Jean Botha, and now we're talking about caring for children that are terminally ill. And of course, it's an emotional experience, if you can imagine. Instead of seeing a child playing around, they are most likely to be confined to a bed. And we know of hospices that care for adult patients, but when it comes to taking care of children, it's a bit different, we understand. So to tell us more about this, I'm joined by Busi Nkosi, who is the Director of Advocacy at the International Children's Palliative Care Network. Thanks so much for coming through, Ms. Nkosi.
Thanks, Sakina.
So first and foremost, you know, when we talk about palliative care, what does that actually entail?
Palliative care is care that is directed at alleviating or addressing the needs of all these children who live with life-threatening and life-limiting illnesses, because they are serious illnesses and it involves a lot of pain. They experience serious symptoms as well. So it's this holistic care that is given to them in order to address the physical, the social, the emotional, the spiritual, and the educational needs of these children. And this care is also extended to the family as well, as you will know that the family also undergoes a lot of emotional roller coaster due to a child who's got a serious illness or an illness that is incurable.
So apart from that, the involvement of the family in the whole care setup, how else does taking care of a child who is seriously or terminally ill different from taking care of a terminally ill adult patient?
You know, perhaps I should say, you know, with palliative care, it's really not end-of-life care as such. It is care that is given right from the diagnosis of an illness that is life-limiting or life-threatening. However, it includes terminal care, because should this child die at the end, well, it means we should do our utmost best to give this child a dignified death, die a pain-free death, and also address the bereavement needs of the family until they are able to cope on their own.
And that can't be easy, you know, because when one thinks of children, you think of, you know, these little people who bring joy. They can just lighten up, you know, any scenario and any space. But now you have them maybe not as well confined to beds in some instances.
Yeah.
It can't be easy dealing with that.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all, Sakina. However, you know, if you give quality care, appropriate care, you know, you will still see the sparks in the eyes of these children, because the important thing is to eliminate pain. I mean, you know, you can't live with pain forever. So if you eliminate pain, you eliminate all other distressing symptoms, be they physical or emotional or social, then you find this lively child whom you won't even realize that is suffering from a life-limiting or a serious illness. Look, I worked in a children's hospice for 13 years. And because we gave proper care, you would not say that was a hospice, because as soon as you walked in there, you would find children lovely playing on the floor, because all their needs were catered for. Even that child who's confined to a bed, if he's pain-free, you will be giving toys that are appropriate, that he can use in his bed, and that would keep him busy and keep him going, and that would be a happy child.
Just
and
a final
so
one.
the family as well.
In terms of access,
yes.
How many of these facilities do we have throughout the country, and are they government-run or privately owned?
Very few, Sakina. Very few, and most of them are NGOs. You will find facilities perhaps in the major cities of the country. However, there is another way of making palliative care accessible to the communities, and that is through home-based care services. So a child doesn't really have to be admitted to a facility, but the organizations have home-based care programs that enable them to go into the children's home and give the care in the child's home.
Well, thank you so much for, giving us at least a glimpse into some of the work that is being done, but obviously highlighting as well that more needs to be done because there has to be more access, greater and easier access to these facilities.
Yes, Sakina, that is why we're having our awareness raising day on the 12th of this month, that is next week, Friday. It's an international day of raising awareness for children's palliative care, and we have a drive, a hands-on drive. That is, on this day, we're asking South Africans to wear a hat to work, to school, to church, or wherever, and that shows that you're caring for these children with life-threatening and life-limiting illnesses. And also, it's also a fundraising drive to ask people to donate to these charities.
So we're going to have to pay to wear our hats.
We can put it so.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Donate and wear a hat.
Leanne, I hope you heard that. We're wearing hats next Friday and you're going to pay for both of us. I'm just putting it out there.
And I'd love to see you here with your hats on, Leanne.
Well, thank you so much, Busi Nkosi, for coming through, the Director of Advocacy at the International Children's Palliative Care Network. And as she said, don't forget, next Friday, October the 12th, wear your hats to highlight child palliative care. And Leanne will be paying for both her and I. Well, let's take a quick break.